I used to think my husband's jealousy was nothing more than a harmless joke, something I could laugh off. Whenever he made a comment about my phone, buzzing too much, or me staying late at work, I never imagined that my laughter would eventually become the spark that burned everything down. He would ask little questions, simple ones like, "Who was that?" or "Why didn't you pick up?" And I would just roll my eyes, teasing him for being dramatic. I didn't realize that behind his quiet eyes, something much bigger was building. One evening, I came home late again, blaming work as usual. He was sitting at the dining table, his dinner untouched, watching me with an expression I couldn't read. I laughed and told him not to stare like that. "You're being jealous again," I joked, brushing past him. But he didn't smile, and that was the first time something inside me shifted. His silence that night felt heavier than any argument we ever had. Over the next week, he became strangely calm, too calm. He didn't question me, didn't tease, didn't make any jealous remarks. I should have felt relieved, but instead, it made me uneasy. It was like living with a storm that had paused right before breaking. Every time I glanced at him, he was watching me with a kind of acceptance that terrified me more than his jealousy ever had. Then came the night everything fell apart. We were invited to a small dinner gathering with friends. I dressed up, trying to shake off the strange tension between us. At the table, someone joked about jealous husbands, and I laughed louder than necessary, nudging him as if to say, "See, you're not the only one." He didn't laugh. He just stared at me, and in that moment, I knew something was coming. Without raising his voice, he simply said, "You know, jealousy only hurts when there's a reason to question." The table went quiet. I felt my face freeze, the smile dying on my lips. I tried to brush it off as another joke, but his eyes were too steady, too cold. He reached into his pocket and placed my second phone, the one he wasn't supposed to know about, on the table. My heart nearly stopped. I felt the air leave my lungs as everyone stared. He didn't say a word, didn't need to. The phone itself was enough. My secret, the messages I thought I had hidden so carefully, were suddenly sitting there like a confession. I opened my mouth, but nothing came out. For the first time, I couldn't laugh. He stood up slowly, like everything was already decided. "You laughed at my jealousy," he said softly. "But the truth is what hurts, not the jealousy." There was no anger in his voice, which somehow made it feel even worse. It sounded like a man who had already mourned the marriage long before tonight. I reached for his hand, trying to whisper an explanation, an excuse, anything that could pull us back from the edge. But he moved his hand away as if my touch burned him. He didn't cause a scene, didn't shout, didn't accuse me further. He simply looked at me like someone who finally accepted a difficult truth. He walked out of the restaurant while everyone sat frozen in place. I wanted to chase him, but my legs felt like they were rooted to the floor. The door closed behind him, and the silence left in his wake was louder than any argument we ever had. I knew in that second that something inside him had shattered for good. When I finally gathered the strength to leave, the cold air outside hit me like reality itself. Our home felt emptier than ever when I returned. His clothes were gone, his keys missing from the hook. Only a short note sat on the table. "Don't laugh at the person who only wanted to feel secure with you." Days passed, and I tried calling him, texting him, apologizing until my hands shook. But he never responded. It was as if I had become a stranger overnight. The same man I mocked for being jealous had been the one silently carrying the truth that would end everything. In the quiet of our now broken home, I finally understood what his jealousy really was. Not control, but fear. Fear of losing me, fear of being replaced, fear of the truth he eventually uncovered. And now all that remained was the echo of my own laughter. A sound that had once felt harmless, but had cost me everything.